Welcome back to this week's Sister Scoop. Before we get started on our Marvel news for this week, I'm going to kick it over to Taylor for a little bit of an announcement.
Yeah, so you may have noticed that this Sister Scoop is out on a Friday. That's because we adjusted our timelines because we now have a Buy Me a Coffee. So if you are looking to support the show, you can do so at the link below, and you can support us and still get your Sister Scoop on Thursdays by joining one of our memberships. Otherwise, we'll still be free every Friday, but just wanted to make that little announcement that we are public on Fridays, but for members, you will still be able to receive on Thursdays.
Yes. So, very exciting. Go ahead and do that. Buy us a coffee. Do what you got to do. But we'll get right into the news after that. And the very first one is something we've kind of been following for a little while now. And it's an update on the DeMayo situation, the firing with Marvel. There's more details coming out, at least from his end. Let's just get into that.
Yeah, I think this is so interesting. It just keeps getting twistier, and it's very much rapidly devolving into a he said, they said type situation.
Right.
So DeMayo's latest kind of update is that he's come out with kind of a list of allegations against the studio across a couple of different projects. So not just X-Men 97, but also his experience on Blade, and just talking about some really kind of negative experiences, some discriminatory experiences that he's had, allegedly had, on set or working on some of these projects. So again, the plot kind of thickens. We all talked about why was he, removed, especially right before X-Men 97 premiered, and then it came out maybe why that was, and now he's firing back at the studio. So I think this has become a lot bigger than certainly I expected. I kind of thought this would just kind of be tossed under the rug once it came out, why he was allegedly removed. But here we are, and it sounds like he's actually, pursuing legal action against the studio. So this might be something that we're covering for months, maybe even years to come.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, when we first kind of were hearing news about this, because keep in mind, guys, this happened, like February of this year? Because it was before the
early
show
March.
even came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't get an update for this for a very long time. And I think it was maybe a month ago that we got some sort of news. Correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't even like official news. It was just kind of like, this is what's circulating the rumor mill currently, is that this is why he was fired. But it was, we've gotten no statement from Marvel. We still have no statement from Marvel. And so it's kind of like, I like how you described it. He said, they said kind of situation. Now it's, they didn't even say anything yet, I guess we should say. Marvel
they did come out and kind of say like, well, he was, removed from the project with reason, but they didn't really go into detail. A lot of those details have kind of been, like, to your point, a little bit the rumor mill. We talked about perhaps they were of a sexual nature. That's kind of the prevailing rumor right now, which DeMayo vehemently denies as part of his kind of statement that he recently released. So yeah, there's like a little bit of a non-statement from the studio, but nothing concrete saying, these are the exact reasons why he was removed from, working with us.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I meant. It was like, they have not blatantly come out with a statement of like, this is for sure what happened. This is why he's been removed. So I think because of that, it's kind of making these allegations also like, you aren't sure. You're not really going to know what happened unless a statement goes out. Or to your point, he's possibly pursuing a legal route. So this could get messier, and we might just have to keep covering this. It will be interesting. We'll see what comes from it. But moving into a slightly different topic, less serious, Brendan Gleeson, if you don't know who that is, Mad Eye Moody for all of those who are Harry Potter fans, he is now going to be in Spider-Man Noir.
I am so excited. Honestly, this show, Spider-Man Noir, is really starting to shape up to be a really exciting project. I mean, Nick Cage, you've got Lamorne Morris, and now Brendan Gleeson, all kind of confirmed as, regulars on the series. That's a really, I know we said this before, but it just continues to be a more and more stacked cast. I have no idea, what this is gonna do in terms of how it's gonna relate to the Spider-Verse at large, especially because it is, as we've talked about, the first Spider-Verse property to move into live action coming out of, the animated two movies so far that we love so much. But I just keep getting more and more excited. I think it's going to be gritty and different and kind of weird in a really good way. And I'm very, very pumped for it.
T had to correct me on that saying because I clearly don't know how to say noir.
I was
But
trying to do it so gently without calling you out, but you just called yourself, so it's fine.
now I will call myself out because I am known for not really pronouncing words correctly. So I'm totally fine with that. I agree with your sentiment, though. I think it's going to be interesting. I also don't really know what to expect at all, really. I don't know too much about this version of Spider-Man beyond what we saw in the Spider-Verse film. So really anything's up for grabs. I mean, Nick Cage already being in it as himself was, I think, just so strange for me. I think it was a good idea, but I just also am like, but Nick Cage, like I'm lost there already. So seeing who's coming onto this project, it's getting bigger and bigger. And it is very exciting. A lot of known actors, especially for me personally, a lot of actors I love. So I'm excited to see what comes next with it. It will be pretty interesting. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But on to our last piece of news, which is pretty big, or sort of, because it's not confirmed quite yet. Although I'm sure by the time this is out, we'll eat our words like what happened with the Russo brothers. But Destin Daniel, if you don't know, that's from Shang-Chi. He directed that movie, is possibly up, seems like a little more than possibly, up for Spider-Man 4.
I'm so excited by this. I mean, I loved Shang-Chi. I thought it was a fantastic film. I think from some of the articles I was reading and just kind of being on the internet at the time, that movie is widely considered one of the best that's come out in the post Endgame era for good reason. It is exceptionally well done, great storytelling, great acting, the whole 9 yards. And it's beautiful. Like, it's actually a gorgeous film. Like, those elemental moments and all of the great dimensional stuff, like, so well done. And knowing that the guy who brought that to life in the director's chair is possibly going to hop on to Spider-Man 4, which is something that y'all know we're very excited about, especially after No Way Home and, bringing Peter back to his roots. I think this is a great opportunity to have Destin Daniel Cretton do something very different than what he did in Shang-Chi, too. Like, if we're going the way that we think Spider-Man 4 is going to go, this is going to be extremely grounded, very much your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in Manhattan, possibly against Kingpin, doing all of that stuff. You can't get any more different, in terms of mystical versus everyday Spider-Man than this and Shang-Chi. And I'm excited to see him take those elements that we love from Shang-Chi, but bring them into Manhattan and a 18-year-old Peter Parker who's just had his entire life turned upside down.
Yeah, I do just want to correct you for one thing there, because as of recently, it's not looking like he might be grounded in his fourth movie.
I
know it's because you're passionate. I know. And I know that's why, but I just, for the fans, because I know Taylor's saying that for her own reasons, but it is not confirmed it will be ground level. That's what we were all hoping. But as of recently, there's been a lot of rumors saying that it's not going to be. So it might be multiversal in, nature. It's also they're shooting to have it out before. I don't know if it's going to be before Secret Wars, but at least before Doom, but it will be at least before Secret Wars is what I'm hearing it's going to be. So just want to clarify that. But I think I'm excited. I think, to your point, Shang-Chi was awesome. It was one of my favorite movies, honestly, since Endgame, mainly because I love this new character and I love meeting new characters in general, but he's so interesting to me and just his entire background's very interesting. So I think it was done so well that I have a lot of faith. I am also a big proponent. I love to bring back directors that do it well.
Yes.
Again, we mentioned the Russo brothers. There's a reason they're coming back. They do it well. They've done 4 movies successfully. So when you do a movie like Shang-Chi and it is so successful, and we're still begging for a second one, but we'll leave that there. I want to see a director like that come back. It works. So I would love to see it. I hope we get confirmation very soon that that's going to be happening, because it seems like a really exciting way to take Spider-Man and Tom Holland's Peter Parker.
Yeah. And I mean, too, I think to your point about bringing back directors, it goes back to the fact that he was going to do Kang Dynasty, and that was kind of his I don't want to call it a reward, but hey, here's you're getting promoted because
Yeah.
you know, did really well in Shang-Chi, and now it's kind of like a lateral move. Like, you did one character really well, we're going to give you a different character, and maybe someday you'll get an Avengers film because we just gave it to two guys who did like the biggest directors film or Avengers films ever. So I get it, but to that point, he was going to do that. Then obviously we know all the changes. Now that's the Russo brothers. So I love to see that they're not giving up on him or, just forcing him to do Shang-Chi, even though I don't think that'd be forcing him, but just, siloing him in Shang-Chi and giving him
Yeah.
opportunities to work in other pockets of the MCU because he is such a strong director and I want to see more films by him. And I love the fact that we're not only going to get Spider-Man 4 potentially from him, but also maybe a Shang-Chi 2 down the line. And I love that we're going to continue to see his films because he's really, really shown that he can get the MCU and do it really well.
Yeah, I agree. And now normally we finish with 3, but I would be so remiss if I didn't bring up one that I saw today, and it didn't make Taylor's list when she was sending me stuff. And I sent it to her. I don't know if she's seen it, but
Oh,
news
yes.
coming out
Now I know.
today that's upsetting to Taylor, and I know it is. Spiderverse. What is it? Beyond the Spiderverse at this point? I don't know. They're all named the same kind of thing. Seemingly pushed back to 2027. Now, I know we're pretty much out of time, but we did have to just quick bring that one up. Very sad news for all of us who sat there and watched Across the Spider-Verse, expecting the 3rd installment a year later. It's now been a year and a half, and now we might not get it for another 3 years. I support paying the animators, giving them all the support they need. I am fully on that, but I am very sad that we may not be getting this movie for, again, almost another 3 years.
Yeah, I totally echo your sentiment. I think there's so much that is challenging, and when you're an animator or a VFX artist, like, there's so much that has come out in the last few years about the conditions that these folks work under. So 100% support them getting their dues, getting paid, getting better working conditions. As a fan, it makes me so sad because that cliffhanger, like, I literally dream about this movie coming out. I'm so excited. And how are we going to get Miles in live action if he didn't finish his animated trilogy? And this is just pushing it back. And now I'm really stressed.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I saw it, I sent it to her. I was like, there's no way she's going to react like a normal person to this.
No!
But I understand why. But I definitely was like, oh, crap. But also 2027, like, what?
So
I saw that
far
date.
away.
I had to do math. No, I know. I was like, oh my God, I'll be 26 when this movie comes out. How is that even? I was 22 when I watched the second one.
I will be rapidly approaching 30, so there's a lot of stress that's approaching with this 2027 number. So
I've clearly stressed her out. So with all of this being said, let's just end it where we're at. Had to just mention that. That's some big news that came out. But this has been this week's Sister Scoop with a little bit of a bonus thrown in there. We hope you guys join us next week as we cover more Marvel news and also keep up with the podcast as Agatha is coming very quickly right around the corner. See ya!